I'm so sad about it, but unfortunately I will not be at Pax Unplugged this year. And honestly, I am so depressed. It's such, because I went for the first time last year and it was one of my favorite experiences, like ever in my entire life. It was so much fun and I was so anticipating coming this year. Honestly, the move, we could have gotten around. I mean, I could have found flights. The hard part was the timing, how Pax Unplugged jumped up a couple of weeks right into Thanksgiving. Like with our family, we just had too many plans and we just couldn't make it work this year, unfortunately. However, just because I am not going to be at PAX doesn't mean that I'm not going to be putting together a list talking about the games that I would be running to if I would have been going. Hello everybody, welcome back to Board Game Buzz. Today, my name is Carly and today we're going to be chatting all about PAX 2025, which at the time of releasing this video is only in a couple days. It is coming up so fast. And like I said, I wish so badly I could be there, but it's okay because I might not be there this year, but Kim, beautiful Kim, is actually going to be at PAX Unplugged this year. She's going to be working at the All Play booth. So please, 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 if you are there, go say hi, go show her some love. She will, I'm not quite sure what her hours are, but I know she is planning on obviously working at the All Play booth for part of the time while also roaming the halls during her free time. So if you do go up to her, please say hi, send me all of the pictures, all the good stuff that I need to know about, and I will just be living vicariously through Kim. So just pretend that I'm right beside Kim, basically the entire convention. I'm so excited for everybody who is having the opportunity to go to PAX Unplugged. I know Jenna from Board Game Garden is there, I know Board Game Co is going, I'm pretty sure Professor Meg, and so many of my other friends are going to be there this year. But obviously I'm not alone. I know there are many people who would like to be at PAX Unplugged always, but for whatever reason can't go. But that doesn't stop us, right? That doesn't stop us from going through this PAX Unplugged preview list, picking out the games that would be our personal favorite. So if you want to hear about the games that I am personally excited about and interested in for one way or another, just keep watching. These are honestly one of my favorite videos to do. I love just getting excited over new board games. It makes my heart happy, okay? And as we all know, my heart needs all the help it can get as of late. So let's just dive into this video. All right, so if you're not aware, for every single kind of big major convention, Board Game Geek actually puts together a list, and this was put together by Eric Martin. Thank you so much, Eric, for doing this. Right on the Board Game Geek page, there's a link to it, but I'll make sure to link in the description below for this video to this particular page if you are interested in checking it out for yourself. Now, there are lots of games that are constantly being added. As of right now, there is 434 titles, and I'm sure even as we get closer to PAX, a handful more might be added into the system. How I typically go through and organize this list is I organize it by thumbs, just to kind of see what games are hot, what games people are interested in. So I went through all this list and kind of threw together, well, more than I should have. I've decided I'm just going to stop limiting myself on games and I'm just going to talk about the ones that I want to talk about. And I'll just move through them a little bit more quickly. Honestly, most of these games, this is kind of the caveat for this video, most of these games I really don't know anything about. It might be a particular mechanic that interests me, or a designer, or even a publisher, or sometimes even just artwork. Artwork alone can draw me into a board game. So these are just the ones that I would be interested in running to, checking out, kind of getting more information on if I was attending PAX Unplugged this year. Before we dive into that list though, I am actually going to start off this video chatting about a handful of games that I would personally recommend to you. As I was going through this preview list, there were some that I was like, oh, I've played that, or I have that on my shelf right now. So we're gonna run through those really quick, just so I can chat really briefly about them, let you know the ones that I would personally recommend out of the hundreds of new games that are going to be there. So let's dive into this, starting with Emberheart. Emberheart is a brand new title from Mind Clash Games, and I actually have had the opportunity to get this game. It's actually upstairs right now, and I was able to do a preview for this game. I really liked this game, and I think the reason why I liked it so much, well, first off, it's a Mind Clash game. They are definitely one of the publishers that I don't really have to know much about the game. As long as it has their kind of stamp of approval on it, that's fine for me. The other thing that really drew me into this game initially was obviously the artwork. Andrew Bosley, one of my favorite, or if not my favorite, artists within the board game space right now. So I was super interested, but then it also has this really interesting kind of auction mechanism that is happening. In this game, you are living basically in this Emberland, on this Emberland island, I think, where all of these kind of final dragons of humanity are residing. There are a couple different phases of the game, but the biggest one is you will have workers or tokens that you will place out onto the boards in certain zones and areas, basically bidding for actions. After everybody has placed, you will then go around in clockwise order on the board, activating and resolving certain areas, and based on how much you bid, you will hopefully be able to collect certain items from those areas. I really like the way that auction worked, and it's also really interesting because there are certain characters or basically certain discs that you can bid with on certain locations that help you out in various ways. I really found it to be a really interesting puzzle. If you are interested in hearing more of my thoughts on this game, I'll make sure to actually link to my preview that I did for it. I really liked it. I thought, again, the bidding was really, really interesting to me, and just the way that you went resolving that. And I just like bidding games in general. And so for whatever reason, this one kind of felt like, I mean, it's definitely a simpler version, but it kind of felt like Luthier to me in a little bit. Just that kind of mechanism of you have spots and you have tokens and you're bidding, and then you go through and resolve. So if that kind of interests you, this is definitely one that I would recommend. Next one is Trinket Trove. This is from Gamehead. Artist is Sundara Tang, designer Rocco Priveria. I think that's how you pronounce that last name. I really liked this game. This is a cute little set collection game that's super approachable for families. Again, I love Sundara Tang's artwork. She's the same artwork for Flamecraft and Critter Kitchen, Tea Witches. She's definitely growing and becoming very iconic within the space, and so it's so fun to see her artwork, but just on a little set collection game. Every single round, cards will be placed on the table, and you will be bidding for turn order by offering up the cards that are in your hand, and based on how many or how good the goods are that you're placing on the table for other people to collect, then that determines your turn order. But again, you know that the cards that you put on the table, other people could potentially pick up. So it works really well, and we have just been playing this game so much. My kids and me, honestly, we fell in love with this game. I've kind of been taking it with me places because it's really simple, really approachable to play. I really like this game, and I'm honestly not surprised if it's a 7.7 on Board Game Geek. Maybe a little bit actually, because it is kind of a smaller game, but it really is good. Moving on to these next three though, we're going to talk about Tend, Brink, and Pillars of Fate. So just stop by the Ivy Studio booth. You need to, because all of the games that they always put out have been amazing. But my particular favorite, okay, so back up a second. When I was flown out by Ivy Studio to shoot some content for Brink. Super awesome game. It's set kind of in the same world as Moonrakers, and it has a lot of table talk negotiation. So you will be going out and exploring, and as you explore, you will be collecting resources, which then you will be bartering and trading those resources with people around the table. So it has a lot of table talk. I don't think that's going to be a game for everybody, right? I don't think it's super approachable because some people might be turned off by that level of interaction. But if you like high levels of interaction, I would absolutely recommend Brink. And I had such a fantastic time with this. I mean, look at it. It looks so good on the table. The way you beef up and upgrade your ships is really cool and interesting as well. So at the time of playing Brink, I remember thinking to myself, yes, this is my new favorite Ivy Studio game. I love this game. Well, then they flew me out again to cover Tend. And Tend, very different game. It is a roll and write game where you will be basically trying to... Are you trying to like collect stuff from this world to ship it off? I can't quite remember the theme. Yeah, you're working for the Zenith Corporation to start a homestead on a new alien world. So you have these sheets, which are huge, and yeah, just a roll and write game where cards will be, I guess it's more of a flip and write game. So cards will be flipped over in the center of the table here, and then you choose actions, which then you mark off and be able to collect on your main board. Maybe you go mining, maybe you will be fishing, maybe you will be farming. There's just lots of different ways to approach this game, and every single time I have finished playing this game, I just want to do it again, because okay, I went really hard in farming this time. Let's see what type of score I can get if I go really crazy into mining and fishing. I just love the different ways that you can push and pull on this board. After playing Tend, I think I can now fully say that Tend It's so hard. I really think that 10 is my favorite Ivy Studio game, though. I love this game. I have a copy of this one coming my way, and I'm so excited to be able. I'm definitely gonna be doing a solo playthrough of this on the channel because it's so good. But I would definitely look into Brink again. If you like high levels of interaction, try Brink, and then also Pillars of Fate. This one really surprised me how much I love this. It's a 2-player head-to-head game that's set in the Veiled Fate. So again, different game of theirs, set in the Veiled Fate universe, and it's a lane battling game. And I love lane battling games. Love it. Essentially, you will have cards and you're playing them into certain rows, which essentially represents different battles that you will be trying to win. And if you do win, you would either get positive or negative points depending on what suit won. Really interesting game where you can kind of bait others into thinking one battle might go one way when really you're trying to sway them, trying to get them to win, to stick them with some negative points. I hope I explained that correctly. It's really good. I love how much pack it kind of comes in a small box, and it's not a terribly long game either. It's 3 rounds, you know that, and it plays really quick. Anyways, hopefully that kind of gives you an idea. I kind of blasted those at you, but Tend, Brink, and Pillars of Fate. Please stop by the Ivy Studio booth in general, and they're fantastic people. Please give them hugs for me because I miss them all. Another booth you definitely need to check out is Bitewing Games. Honestly, guys, Bitewing Games is fantastic as well. So many. I know they're going to have, like this one, Silos, Orbit, and Ego. Definitely go check those ones out. But in regards to like their newer, and those ones are still newer ones, but based on the preview page, it says that they're going to have Gazebo there. I really liked Gazebo. This is an abstract game, which abstract games are hit or miss for me. And this one just hit. Essentially, you're placing out tiles, trying to win. How do I even describe it? It's been a hot minute since I've played. But you're placing out tiles, trying to create groups of other tiles, which then hopefully you can own. And your job is to place out all of your gazebos before your opponents, because there are times where your placement actually allows you to overtake a certain area so you can claim it for your own and push your opponent out. So it feels kind of like an area control game. There are certain areas and zones that you can encompass or surround, which allows you to place even more of your gazebos out on the board. It's just a fun little tile laying game that, for whatever reason, I just loved the push and pull of this game. But again, you should check out their booth in general because they're really good. Big Sur is another one I would recommend. This is a fun card game where you are traveling along the Pacific Coast Highway, checking out scenery and landmarks. Essentially, you are playing out cards in front of you, trying to create this scenic route, which based on the icons that you will be uncovering, you will be able to potentially collect rewards and things in regards to that nature. But the real reason why I like it is because the cards that you play out will slowly be able to generate more and more resources for you, because when you place out, every card has a cost, right? But if you have placed out cards previous that maybe generate stuff for you, then those cards later on down the line will actually be cheaper and cheaper to produce. So you're kind of trying to match your landscapes as best as you can. And I just like the mechanic of laying out kind of a system of cards in front of you, and you can only play on either end. I just found that really interesting and enjoyed that one a lot. Next one is Corpse of Discovery. I'm not going to go into this one too much because I actually have a review coming out for this really soon. Really enjoyed this game. I love deduction games in general. So this is, you're exploring early America and trying to rid the land of invasive monsters that have appeared. It's interesting to have a cooperative deduction game. I mean, there definitely are cooperative deduction games out there, like Bomb Busters and a couple of these other ones, but I really liked this one. Just kind of felt grittier to me and it gave me an interesting punch that I haven't really felt from a cooperative deduction game. Final one we're going to talk about is All Play Booth. I always recommend All Play Booth because I love them. And Twinkle, Twinkle, and Waddle were my surprises for this year. Really loved them. I always recommend River Valley Glassworks anyways because that's my personal favorite All Play game. So if you haven't yet played that one, go to All Play. Maybe Kim will teach it to you. But Twinkle, Twinkle and Waddle, they both came out this year, and I really kind of fell in love with these games. So Twinkle Twinkle is a tile placement game where you are trying to build out the nighttime sky. Based on the tile that you select, I'm explaining this so bad, sorry. Based on the tile that you select, and what everybody selects, and that will actually determine your turn order for the next round. So it's like, okay, do you choose the crappier tile now just so you can ensure that you're first in line next round when that tile that you really want comes into play? So I found that really interesting. I like all the different ways that you can score, and it just looks really, really pretty when you build out. Let me see if I can try to find a picture here. It just looks pretty building out your little nighttime sky. And I also like how the goals are actually kind of interchangeable and double-sided. You have green goals and blue goals that you can work with. So it just adds to that replayability there. Waddle is a really fun little area control game, essentially, where you are placing out penguins trying to surround certain watering holes that will inevitably be worth points at the end of the game if you have majority around those. It has a really interesting, again, turn order sequence here with these marbles where you will constantly be rotating these based on whose turn it is, and when it is your turn you can choose to pass, basically waiting for the next round, waiting so you can be first in line for the next watering hole that is in play. You're starting at the first watering hole, working your way out all the way up to the highest watering hole. It's also interesting because if everybody passes and there's one person left, and there's still empty spots around that particular watering hole that is in play, you have to force the remaining person in play to place all of their penguins around that watering hole. So it's just a fun, really quick area control game that it really surprised me how much I liked this game. All right, hopefully I went through this quickly enough. Sorry, there's just so many good games that I want to talk about. We're now going to jump into this next section of the video, chatting about the games that I would be the most excited to check out at PAX Unplugged. And I just couldn't narrow it down, so I have a ton of games. We're just going to kind of speed go through them, and I'm just going to briefly kind of share what I enjoyed about these games or what stood out to me or why I'm interested in them. Oh, also, these aren't in any particular order. Maybe towards the end a little bit, but I'm all equally interested in all of these. Sanctuary. So Sanctuary is essentially Ark Nova, the tile game. This one is actually lower down on the list because I've heard mixed stuff about it. Jenna from Board Game Garden, I'm pretty sure she mentioned how much she liked this game. I don't know if she was able to get a full playthrough in, but she specifically mentioned how this one was really interesting to her because it is again, just a tile aspect of Ark Nova, which in Ark Nova, the tile aspect does kind of feel smaller compared to the rest of the game. So I would be interested to try this out. However, I'm pretty sure Dice Tower was not, specifically Tom. I don't think Tom liked this as much, but having said that, he also loved Ark Nova so much that I guess it would kind of make sense that he wouldn't like this because it doesn't quite give you as much as Ark Nova did. So I don't know, I'm hesitant, but I would be really interested in trying this one out. Next one is Whisperwood. I'm really interested in this because this is cardboard alchemy, and I don't know anything about it other than supposedly it is some sort of bag building game. Whisperwood is a bag building game for 2 to 4 players of druids harnessing the power of elements and the natural world to restore a forest. Each round, players simultaneously summon magical energy in the form of tokens and plan incantations they will perform. Super interested. Next one is Flamecraft Duels. Again, abstract games are hit or miss for me, but this one looks really interesting. You have these dragon discs, and I am pretty sure, again, I haven't played it, but I'm pretty sure that each of the discs, like each of the different types of dragons, can activate or have some sort of asymmetric thing that activates when you place them on the board. That's what I have heard. Whether that actually plays out that way, I don't know. I don't quite know too much about Flamecraft Duels. But I'm really interested in regards to that. I think it looks so cute. Again, coming back to Sandara Ting's artwork. The pattern building tile placement game, it's right up my alley. And definitely one that I like to try. It's also really cool because the game itself is actually the board. Like the game, it folds out. Like the box folds in half, and then that's the board that you play on. So I need to try this, and I'm so obsessed with these like double dragons. Can you see this? Oh, how do I move this? Oh, why can I not move it? Okay, I don't know if you can tell, but right here, like the dual dragons that are like multiple ones. Oh, I'm super interested in this one. Next one is White Castle Duel. Now, I really enjoy the White Castle a lot, and so that's why I'm really interested to see what they do with a 2-player version of it. And I'm pretty sure that Alex, Board Game Co., I'm pretty sure he said that he likes White Castle Duel more than White Castle, which is really interesting to me. You can play the White Castle with 2 people just fine. So I'm really interested to see the changes that they did here and if it really does improve upon the base game. And I don't know, maybe I would end up liking this one more. So this is one that I would definitely want to try. Again, publisher DeVere. This is not the only DeVere game that's on this list. This next one is the Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers trick-taking game. So they did have the Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game, which took off. Everybody could not stop talking about it forever. It's essentially the crew. It's essentially the crew, but with the Lord of the Rings theme on top of it. I am pretty sure. And I know you can play it solo. So they had the Fellowship of the Ring. Now they're doing the Two Towers. I'm sure they will do Return of the King and have all of the sagas, which is really fun to be able to move through the story. So I want to see, I assume this one is going to be just as good as the original. I would like to have it. Please and thank you. Next one is Garden Lake, and I'm primarily interested in this because this is an Uwe Rosenberg game. I honestly don't know much about it other than that, and it looks really pretty. I love tile placement games, and whenever there's a new Uwe Rosenberg game, I need it. I just need it. Look how cool that looks. Looks so pretty. The artwork looks really good. I love that. I really am curious, these spots on the edge. See how there's spots on the edge where you will be like slotting things in. So I don't know, I'm interested. The catch is that on their turn, players always place 1 tile, but they can earn additional tiles by completing various objectives, which allows them to chain moves and strategize their way to victory. That sounds right up my alley. I love being able to chain movements, especially in polyomino games, or be able to unlock things, which allows you to place more. Really interested in that one. Next one, I should have placed this one by the other DeVere game, but it's okay. Next one is Covenant. I don't know anything about this, okay? It says it's played over 3 ages. During their turn, players will assign dwarfs of their clan to different tasks that allow them to explore ancient halls of ancestors and drive out the enemies rebuilding their ancestral home. Yes! I'm trying to find like a big picture. Okay, you can kind of see the board a little bit more there, I guess. But yeah, looks good. Oh, there you go. There's a good picture of it. Yes! Yes! Just looking at that makes me happy. That looks really good. Sounds like there's some worker placement in it. And yeah, trying to rebuild your home. I love it. Cascadia Alpine Lakes. I almost wonder if this is going to replace base game Cascadia for me fully from my collection. And I don't say that lightly, okay? I have loved Cascadia for years. But then we got Harmonies, and Harmonies kind of replaced Cascadia, but I was like, even though it like replaced Cascadia for me, I'm still never going to get rid of Cascadia. And then they come out with this. And there's a part of me that thinks that this might, again, I haven't played, but there's a part of me that thinks that this might be a better version of Cascadia. And here's why. It still has the core stuff that we love about Cascadia, except it also has a stacking mechanism to it. You can kind of see right here. So you will actually be strategically stacking your tiles on top of each other. I love that mechanism so much. There's been a handful of games that have done this, right? Like Aqua did it. I mean, why am I blanking? There's so many. Acropolis did it. You could argue that Harmonies did like the stacking mechanism. But I really am so curious to see how this implements in a Cascadia type game, because I love so much about Cascadia, right? You have the goals that everybody's working for. You have the combination of things you're trying to acquire. It's a very forgiving game, right? The board is constantly growing and growing, so you never really feel limited. I'm interested to see if you still kind of have that feeling, but you're also limited because you're trying to stack in certain ways. I just think it's going to make it slightly more complicated for me. You can see, I think they also switched up the tiles. As you can see, these tiles are double tiles instead of just one. So yeah, I am really interested to see, oh, look how good that looks too. I have a feeling that this is going to replace Cascadia for me. These next two are both from Mighty Boards, okay? So For the Gods and then Pinched. I don't know too much about either of them, other than For the Gods is supposedly an area majority game. It says it's a strategic area control game in which every stone shapes your path to victory. The rules are simple. Sail the seas to establish new temples or strengthen existing ones. Along the way, collect god stones and unleash their divine powers at the right moment. With 12 unique god powers, each game offers fresh strategies and dynamic gameplay, ensuring high variability. Yes! I love the cover of it. When I look at the board looks a little bit too simplistic. I wish there was a little bit more details. However, it does kind of match the cover. I can see that, but I wish there was a little bit more details going on. But I mean, all I need is area control, and I'm interested, especially with the different god powers that it's alluding to. Yes, I need this one. But then there's also Pinch, which you are trying to plan a heist as the mastermind to pinch valuables. This artwork of this cover, I love it so much. Okay, but then it actually carries through onto the actual cards, or the actual like gameplay and look of it on the board. I love that idea of being masterminds. I assume it is some sort of like a set collection type of game, but I love just that heist kind of theme on top of it, and it looks really good. This next one, Everdell Emberland, I want to check this one out because I'm interested to see how it changes stuff. It's kind of getting to the point where I'm like, I don't quite know if I necessarily need another Everdell game, but I'm also interested. Does that make any sense? Like I definitely kind of fall into that trap of I don't need it, but I want it, right? I don't think Everdell Emberland, it might give you like one small tweak, but I don't necessarily think this is something you need, especially if you're just like happy with the one Everdell game that you have, whatever one that is. I would like to actually do a comparison video talking about all of the different Everdell ones and which one is my personal favorite. So I don't know. This is definitely one that I want to check out because I'm curious to see what it does different. Next one is Formaggio. Fromage is one of my favorite games of all time. It is a fantastic game where essentially 1, 2, 4 players will simultaneously be playing on this board and placing out their cheeses to claim certain areas, which will then score you points at the end of the game. But it has this really interesting rotation mechanism where the board is this big, if I can find it. I just had a picture of it. Where did it go? Here. So the board is this big circular thing where every single round it'll twist and then you'll place on the zone that's facing you, and then you'll twist again and then you'll place. So you're playing the entire game. The cool thing about this game, Formaggio, is it is a standalone game, but it actually is fully integratable with Fromage. So you can actually kind of piece your board game together using, maybe you want a couple tiles from Formaggio, but then the other 2 from Fromage. So you can kind of piece it together, and it gives you just kind of that more variability, right? This time you're doing Italian cheese instead of, I think it was French cheese in the first one. But I need this game. I need it to complete my fromage collection. Next one is Satchel Quest. Honestly, I'm not super pulled in by the cover. I know it's Vincent Dutrait, but something about it, I don't know. I'm not as super drawn in as I wish I would have been. However, having said that, I think the boards themselves look really cool, and it is a bag building dungeon adventure. Yes. This one is being published by Weird City Games, and down here in mechanisms, it does say variable player powers, which I am all for. It says each round has 6 phases where players build the dungeon, resolve actions, visit the village to heal, upgrade your skills, and buy new chips at the market that expand your strategy. The game ends during the path phase when there are no more path cards to reveal. The player with the most value points wins. So again, the cover itself isn't drawing me in. It feels almost a little bit too old school for me, but everything about those mechanisms and kind of the idea of what they're kind of selling this game as seems like it's one that's right up my alley, right? You're going through the dungeon, you're able to kind of beef up. You do have those variable player powers that you can kind of bounce stuff off of, and again, just leads to that replayability. Jumping back over to the All Play booth though, there's a couple All Play games that I need to get my hands on. I really, really am excited for this. So there is Pinatas, and then there's also Three Witches. Three Witches, I honestly don't know anything about. All I saw, it was three witches, and I saw the cover of it was just these three witches around this cauldron, and I needed it. So we'll jump back to this one in a second, but I do want to talk about Pinatas because I do know a little bit about this one. This one is a re-implementation of what's that marshmallow game? Isn't there a marshmallow game? Oh my goodness, what is it called? Right, on Board Game Geek it says it re-implements Voodoo Prince. Oh, here it is. Marshmallow Test. Yeah, Marshmallow Test. So it's a trick-taking game that I think implements this one, which then Voodoo Prince implemented, but now it's Pinatas. So this is a really interesting game where you will be bidding your time, but you don't want to wait too long because then I think you will lose out on all like the candy that you will be collecting. Once you take 3 tricks, you are out of the round, but you get points for how many tricks are won by all of the players at the table. I really like trick-taking games. I don't get the opportunity to play them too often, so I kind of just want to have my collection of like my favorite trick-taking games, so that I can just pull them out when I do get the opportunity. But I've heard so many people talking about Pinatas, and then previous to that, I'd heard people talking about Voodoo Prince and the Marshmallow one. So I think like out of all of those, this one looks the best in my opinion. I really like the artwork, and just the entire vibe of this game. I think it looks so fun. I mean, look at those cards of like the pinatas getting blasted. I just think it's so fun. Again, coming back to Three Witches here. It says Three Witches is a must-follow trick-taking game with no trump suit. At the start of each round, players bid how many tricks they can win out of 5. The highest bidder becomes the lead witch, and their opponents play together on the team as lesser witches. The lead witch plays 2 cards, one face down, while 2 lesser witches combine 1 card each. 2 ingredients of the same rank or suit get added together, leading to tricky situations. I think that's such a fun dynamic. This is a 3-player game. I like it when games are like, no, this was designed for 3 players and it plays at 3 players. So I would like to try this one out. It's kind of fun to have like that 2 versus 1 battle too in regards to a trick-taking game. Next one is probably one of the ones that I'm most interested in. It's called Leaders and it's by Studio H. And the reason why this one seems super interesting to me is because it seems like it's highly asymmetric. Create a team of unique champions in order to defeat the opposing leader. To win, either position 2 of your champions next to your opponent's leader or to capture them, or skillfully maneuver so the opponent's leader is surrounded, leaving no adjacent empty spaces. It almost kind of seems a little bit like a Mythic Mischief kind of scenario, a little bit. It does seem a touch, maybe more, a touch more abstract than I would like, but I really like games where you are heavily asymmetric, right? Or you have a lot of different characters that you can choose from, and you can activate and kind of use their ability and how that bounces off the other players and what they choose. I find that really interesting. These next ones are probably the ones that I'd be the most interested in checking out. This is Druid City Games. This is Wonderlands War Duel along with Mad Kala. Wonderlands War is one of my favorite games of all time. I love it, and I love these 2 different takes on it. So Wonderlands War Duel, it seems very similar to Wonderlands War, again, just like a 2-player version of it, because Wonderlands War doesn't really play super great at 2 players. You kind of do have to have, 3 or 4 players really to kind of get a good feeling for how the game plays, even at that highest player count, but then it is slightly long at that higher player count. So I would really love to have this version, this 2-player, and I'm really curious to see how it plays and if it does kind of give me that same feeling of Wonderlands War, and it's just a way to, again, just play it at 2 players. But then there's also Mad Kala, which is another 2-player game where, again, still set in that same universe, right? Obviously with the amazing Manny Tremblay artwork. I'm trying here, do they not have any more pictures on it? They've got to have pictures of this. Maybe I should go. Should I go to the Kickstarter page? Okay, I'm actually shocked they don't have more pictures on Board Game Geek of this, but that's okay. So the interesting part about this is it is, sorry, I'm trying to get to a picture here. So it is, again, still set in that same world, but it's Mancala, essentially. So you will have shards that you will, again, pick up, placing one behind each. And I just find that idea fascinating, and I would love to play a game like that set in Wonderlands War world. It says it plays in 15 to 30 minutes, so it seems just like a really quick, like one of those quick sit-down 2-player games, which honestly is what we end up tabling the most, me and Jordan. It's so much easier when the kids go down to bed and all the craziness, where we just can sit down and just play a really quick game where we don't have to think too much about setup. We don't have to go into like a 3-hour game. Just sit down, play for 15 minutes, boom, kind of get it out of our system. So this is the one that I would be the most interested in sitting down and trying, is Mancala. Again, along with Wonderlands War Duel, I'm really interested to see how this one actually kind of takes Wonderlands War for 2 people. But overall, those are the 2 that I would probably be the most interested in checking out on PAX Unplugged this year. Having said that, there are a lot of games that I just threw your way. A lot of games that I would have been running to if I would have had the opportunity to go to PAX this year. I love checking out new board games, seeing what publishers and designers and artists are coming up with. I think it's just such a fun thing. Aren't we in a great hobby? And we're in the golden age of gaming, right? Where we have so many great games that are coming out all the time. It's just hard to find the time for all of them. So having said all that, that is my list for games that I would be checking out at PAX Unplugged this year. Again, if I was going. I'll still try my best to get my hands on at least a couple of these games, or at least as many as I can, to be able to hopefully one day share my thoughts with you. If you are going to PAX Unplugged though, and if you had the opportunity to go through the preview list, if there's any games that stood out to you that I personally didn't mention on this list, please drop all of them in the comments below. I love going through and reading all of the games that are kind of sound interesting to you that maybe didn't quite make it onto my radar. Thank you so much for watching this video today. If you enjoyed this video and you wouldn't mind liking, subscribing, and doing all the good stuff to support me, I would really appreciate it. But until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later.